Alright, it's about that time. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rebuild an Atlantis coil. This is just going to be a quick video describing how I like to do it and how I go about doing so. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to rebuild the coil that's in this guy. So obviously the first thing I'm going to need to do is take the Atlantis off of the device, whatever device you're using. I am actually currently using an IPV Mini. I am going to be doing a full review of that really soon. Boom. So let me get the coil out of this Atlantis and we'll go ahead and we'll get it rebuilt. There's the coil itself. I'm going to go ahead and get this cleaned off a little bit, make it a little bit easier without getting juice all over my hands. There we go. So there's the coil itself, the Atlantis coil. The first step is going to be going and pulling this bottom piece off. That little guy right there. Pull that bad boy off of there, set that over to the side. The next step is going to be getting this little O-ring out, that rubber little piece you see right there. That's going to come out of there. Grab some pliers, tweezers. I prefer my ceramic tweezers. Find that bump, get in there, kind of peel it out. This can be a little tricky, but once you get it, boom, that's what it should look like. Pull that guy out of there. Now, a trick to this is making sure that when you pull these coils out, that you pull them from the bottom. So that's the inside of the Atlantis coil right there. You need to pull the coil out from the bottom, not from the top. If you pull it from the top, you're going to end up pulling the screen out, and then you're going to end up pulling the actual, I believe it's silica. I'm not sure exactly what's in there, but there's a separate sheet of some sort of wicking material on the outside ring there. So you want to keep that in there. And the easiest way to do that is literally pull it out from the bottom. So get your tweezers in there. Let's kind of pull this guy out. Boom. There's my old coil. And as you can see, that cotton was nasty. Boom. Look how burnt up that is. Throw that off to the side. And then I kind of just go in here, get a little excess. There might be some excess cotton. There you go. There's the rest of it. Look at that nastiness. Just cleaning up a little mess here. So once you've got all your cotton out, all you should have in there is going to be that little metal screen there, which you can see is kind of dirty. And then that's what it should look like on the inside. Boom. Alright, now the next step is going to be obviously grabbing your canthal. I'm going to use 24 gauge canthal. I'm going to do about 10 wraps, which is going to put me at a 0.75, which is what I personally like. I know that the stock coils are 0.5 ohms. I prefer to use a 0.75 ohm. So grab your canthal, take off about a foot, not even, maybe 6 inches, something like that. Boom. Go ahead and we'll get this bad boy wrapped up. I usually use a 2mm drill bit, but the screwdriver is going to work well for me, and the reason why is because obviously the inside of the Atlantis coil is actually a little large, so it'll fit nicely in there. Drop my canthal. Take the canthal, wrap like you would any other coil. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now the trick here is to make sure that you kind of set this up like a trident is how I describe it to people. So I'm going to take this off, boom, just like that. I take that side there, as you can see it's sticking up just like so. Take the other lead and do the same thing with it. Bring it straight up. Boom. And you want them to be on the opposite sides of each other. That's what it should look like, just like that. And I'm going to cut some of this excess off, not a whole lot, because I do want a little bit overhang, that way I can adjust as needed. So now once you do that, the easiest way I have found to get these things wicked up is Japanese cotton. And I'll show you how I go about doing that. So obviously, I'm going to grab my sheet of Japanese cotton here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it the same width of that coil, and I'm going to kind of eyeball that. Boom. So that's going to be my Japanese cotton there. And next thing I do is I actually split that in half lengthwise, which is going to give me some extra fluffy cotton. It's going to make it a little bit thinner, make it a little bit easier to wrap around this coil. So I put my leads facing straight up. And what I do is I set the edge of that Japanese cotton in one lead, and I hold it down, and I kind of just wrap this around here. It doesn't have to be super tight, but you still want to have some tension on there. I found it's best just to keep it all on your wrapping tool, whether it be a screwdriver or drill bit, whatever the case may be. Boom. Just like so. Boom. There's the cotton on there. Now what I do is I kind of hold that cotton, pull the whole entire coil off, flip it over, and put it back on the screwdriver. So that's what you should have with those leads facing down. And the reason why I have them facing down is going to make it a lot easier to get into here. And I go obviously through the bottom. So all I have to do is hold my leads, push that guy in there. As you can see, this is going to be a little difficult because I have a little bit too much cotton there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull off a little bit of this cotton. Take my scissors, cut some of the excess off, put everything back, and try again. So all I'm doing is taking it, putting it through the bottom of the coil. And that's going to work out nicely. So as you can see, boom, it's going through, and that's why you want to leave that screen in there. That's going to kind of give you a good starting point, a reference point as to where you'd want to keep it. So now what I do is I take my screwdriver here, and I put it through the top of the coil, top of the whole setup here, just like so, and then I fold one lead over the side of the housing. Just fold it right over the side. Now I find that rubber piece that I had, boom, there's a little rubber gasket. I put the lead that I kept standing straight up, I put that through the gasket. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. Boom, through the gasket, while the one that is bent over, is going to stay on the outside of that gasket. There's two little bumps on these gaskets here, so you need to make sure that you get those lined up. Push that on. Once that's on there, you fold that other lead over. my screen decided to come out, so I'm pushing that bad boy back in. So if that does come out, it's not that big of a deal. The screen is not as important as that extra sheet of wicking material that's in there. Because there is a sheet in here, a little seat for that mesh. So once that's folded over, I go ahead and I'm going to actually cut the excess of that outside, the outside lead only. Boom. And now I can go ahead and find that bottom section, this very bottom pin. Boom. Put that guy back on. Once that's on there, you can adjust as needed. Boom. So now I have that one extra lead, so now I need to cut that as close as possible. Cut. This bad boy should be good to go. There's the Atlantis coil. I'm going to throw it on an ohms meter right quick just to see what it's reading at, and we'll go from there. If I can find my ohms meter. Alright. There we go. So I got my ohms meter here, as you can see. It's reading all sorts of craziness right now. Boom, there we go. That's a better one. So it's reading nothing. So now I'm going to put this bad boy on there. See if she reads. 0.74. As you can see there, 0.74. I was shooting for 0.75. So I'm absolutely happy with that. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get some juice on this, and we'll go ahead and get a vape on it. So I'm using some Namber juice, Strawberry Circus by Namber. So I actually put juice directly onto the coil when I rebuild them. It does tend to help it a little bit. That way I'm not trying to constantly go ahead and prime it up for a half an hour. So I already have some Strawberry Circus in here. Let me get this guy onto there. Boom. Flip it over. I think I got some excess juice on my tank somehow. And throw it on my IPV Mini. See if it won't vape. Absolutely fantastic. I think 30 watts is a little too much for me, so I'm going to turn this down. I'm going to turn this to 24 watts. Actually, let's go 22 watts. Boom. I don't know if you can be able to read that. Boom. Ah, sorry, that was upside down. There you go, 22. As you can see, with a 0.74, 0.75 ohm coil in the Atlantis is just as good, for me anyways, it seems just as good as a 0.5 ohm coil. I like the fact that, you know, I can throw a 0.75 on a couple more devices. I would like to build one up to a 1 ohm, and I'm going to throw that on the iStick Mini, and I'm going to see how it vapes on that as well, just to kind of be able to use the Atlantis on more of the devices I already own without having to have a high wattage box all the time or having a mechanical mod with me. If I have something that's a pass-through, such as the IPV Mini, I can go ahead and I can bring that pretty much anywhere. So thanks for watching, and I'm going to be doing some more videos on the IPV Mini, some on the iStick Mini, the regular iStick, and a couple other devices. Thanks for watching.